I'm Sheriff Marcus Daniels, and I've seen a lot in my 20 years patrolling Oakwood County. But nothing prepared me for what I witnessed on Maple Street that scorching July afternoon. I was driving back from a long shift, my patrol car's AC barely keeping up with the heat. The radio crackled with routine calls, but my mind was on a cold drink and a quiet evening. Then a sharp voice cut through the air like a gunshot. "Clean my car now." I slowed my cruiser, peering over the steering wheel. There, in a pristine driveway, stood Karen Mitchell, her blonde hair pulled tight, her face twisted with rage. She was yelling at Mr. Leroy Thompson, an elderly black man I've known since I was a rookie. He stood by his rose bushes, a watering can in his trembling hands, his eyes steady but heavy with hurt. Her yellow Lamborghini gleamed behind her, spotless except for a faint smudge. "Do it or I'll make you sorry," she barked, stepping closer. I pulled my car behind a row of oaks, my gut telling me to watch. This moment will grab you, and what unfolds will leave you stunned. Hit that subscribe button, give us a like, share this story with your friends, and drop a comment to let me know what you think. Now let me take you through the day that shook Maple Street to its core. Oakwood's a small place, the kind where folks wave from porches and kids play tag in the streets. I've patrolled these roads since I was 25, learning every corner, every face. Mr. Thompson's one of the best, 78 years old, a retired teacher who marched for civil rights back in the 60s. His roses are legendary, bright red blooms that draw neighbors like moths to a flame. Karen though. She's new, moved in 6 months ago with her fancy car and sharper attitude. I'd heard whispers about her, snapping at kids, glaring at anyone who didn't fit her idea of classy. That day she picked the wrong target. "I said clean it," she shouted, her voice shrill enough to rattle windows. Mr. Thompson set his watering can down, his back straight. "I'm not your servant, ma'am," he said, calm but firm. Karen's eyes narrowed. "People like you don't get to talk back." The words hit like a slap, raw and hateful. I eased my car door open, staying low behind the oaks. My notebook was already in hand, pen scratching as I noted the time. 3:47 p.m. Karen's tirade grew louder. "This is my street now," she spat, jabbing a finger at Mr. Thompson. "You're nothing here." His face stayed steady, but I saw the flicker of pain in his eyes, a shadow of old wounds. "I've lived here 40 years, he said, his voice low. "I've earned my peace." Karen laughed, a cruel mocking sound that made my jaw clench. "Peace? You just scrub my car." I glanced around, curtains twitched in nearby houses, faces peeking out. Mrs. Elena Rodriguez, who runs the corner store, stood on her lawn, her phone up, recording. Kids on bikes slowed, their whispers buzzing. The air felt thick like a fuse burning down. I've handled bar fights, thefts, even a standoff once, but this was different. This wasn't just a spat, it was hate, plain and ugly. Karen stepped closer to Mr. Thompson, her voice dropping to a venomous hiss. "You're lazy. Useless. Do what I say." He didn't budge, his eyes locked on hers. "I fought for my rights in Selma, lady," he said. "I'm not bowing to you." Karen scoffed, tossing her hair. "Rights? Don't make me laugh." My pen moved faster, capturing every word. I knew the law: harassment, racial discrimination, public disturbance. She was digging her own grave. I radioed dispatch, keeping my voice low. "Unit 12, possible 4:15 on Maple Street. Stand by." I wasn't rushing in yet. I needed evidence, and Karen was giving me plenty. Mrs. Rodriguez's camera caught every second, her hands steady as stone. "This ain't right," she muttered, loud enough for me to hear. Old Mr. Jenkins, who lives across the street, cracked his window, his cane tapping as he listened. A group of teens, including young Marcus from the basketball team, gathered near the curb, their bikes forgotten. "Why's she so mean?" one kid whispered. Karen didn't notice the growing crowd. She was too busy tearing into Mr. Thompson. "You don't belong here," she hissed, her voice like nails on a chalkboard. That's when a young woman, Sarah, who works at the diner, stepped onto her porch. "Leave him alone," she called, her voice shaking but bold. Karen spun around, her eyes blazing. "Stay out of this," she snapped. But Sarah held her ground. "He's our neighbor." Mr. Thompson looked at Sarah, a flicker of gratitude in his eyes. "It's okay, Sarah," he said softly. "I've faced worse." But I could see the weight on him, the way his hands shook just a little. Karen smirked, sensing weakness. "See? Even he knows his place," she said, turning back to him. "Now clean my car or I'll call the cops." That was my cue. I stepped out from behind the oaks, my boots heavy on the asphalt. "No need for that, ma'am," I said, my voice calm but firm. Karen's head whipped toward me, her sneer fading for a split second. Then she plastered on a fake smile. "Sheriff, thank goodness," she said, her tone sugary. "This man's causing trouble." Mr. Thompson shook his head. "She's been harassing me, Sheriff. All because of my skin." The truth landed like a boulder, heavy and undeniable. Mrs. Rodriguez stepped forward, her phone still up. "I got it all recorded, Sheriff," she said, her voice fierce. The crowd murmured, growing bolder. Mr. Jenkins called from his window. "She's been picking fights for weeks." Marcus the teen piped up. "She yelled at my grandma last month too." Karen's smile cracked, her eyes darting between faces. "They're lying," she shrieked, but her voice sounded thin now, like a thread about to snap. I held up a hand, silencing the crowd. "Ma'am," I said to Karen, "you're coming with me for questioning." Her jaw dropped. "You can't be serious," she sputtered, backing toward her car. I pulled out my cuffs, my voice steady. "Harassment and racial discrimination are serious crimes." The click of the handcuffs was loud, final, as I secured them around her wrists. Karen's protests echoed as I led her to my cruiser. "This is outrageous. I'll sue," she screamed, her heels scraping the pavement. The crowd watched, a mix of shock and triumph on their faces. Mr. Thompson exhaled, his shoulders easing. Sarah walked over, touching his arm. "You okay, Mr. T?" she asked. He nodded, a small smile breaking through. "I've seen uglier days, Sarah. But this feels right." I glanced at Karen, now slumped in the back of my car, her face pale. Neighbors clapped softly, their voices rising in quiet cheers. Mrs. Rodriguez tucked her phone away, her eyes fierce. "She messed with the wrong street," she said. I felt a spark of pride. Maple Street was standing up, and I was proud to be part of it. By evening, Mr. Thompson's yard was a gathering place. Neighbors brought fried chicken, lemonade, and folding chairs. Kids chased fireflies, their laughter a balm after the day's tension. Mrs. Rodriguez played her video on her tablet, and we watched Karen's hate unravel, frame by frame. Sarah stood on Mr. Thompson's steps, her voice strong. "This can't happen again," she said. "We need to protect each other." Mrs. Rodriguez nodded. "A neighborhood watch," she said. "No more standing by." Ideas poured in, weekly meetings, self-defense classes, a hotline for reporting trouble. Mr. Thompson listened, his eyes bright. "You're building something good," he said, his voice warm. I stayed late, sipping lemonade, watching faces I'd known for years come together. We weren't just neighbors anymore. We were a family. Karen didn't go down easy. She hired a hotshot lawyer, a guy with a Rolex and a smug grin. The courthouse was packed, the air thick with anticipation. I sat in the witness stand first, recounting every detail, the time, her words, the crowd's reaction. My notes were airtight, my testimony clear. Mr. Thompson took the stand next, his voice steady as he spoke of his life, his struggles, his roses. "I just wanted to tend my garden," he said. But she saw my color and decided I was nothing. The judge, a woman with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense frown, leaned forward, listening. Karen's lawyer tried to spin it, claiming she was stressed and misunderstood. But Mrs. Rodriguez's video was a sledgehammer. When it played, the courtroom went silent, Karen's voice echoing, hateful and clear. The judge's gavel came down hard. "Guilty," she said. "Fines, 200 hours of community service and a public apology." The crowd erupted, clapping and hugging. The fines were just the beginning. Karen's face was plastered on every local news station, the racist Karen label sticking like glue. Her job at a fancy real estate firm? Gone. Her Lamborghini? Auctioned off to cover legal fees. Her house sat empty, a for sale sign staked in the yard. She left town, her reputation in tatters. But for Maple Street, the story was just starting. We launched the Neighborhood Watch, held weekly meetings at the community center, and painted a mural on Mr. Thompson's fence, a vibrant portrait of him surrounded by roses. Kids helped with the painting, splashing bright colors while laughing. Sarah started a youth group, teaching teens about standing up to hate. Mr. Thompson joined in, sharing stories from the civil rights era that left us all quieter, wiser. Our story didn't stay local. Mrs. Rodriguez's video went viral, racking up millions of views online. People shared their own stories of hate, demanding change. Protests sprang up across the county, calling for stronger laws against discrimination. The sheriff's department, my department, started new training on handling hate crimes, and I led the first session, using Karen's case as a lesson. Schools added lessons on equality, and the mayor held a town hall where Mr. Thompson spoke, his voice carrying the weight of his years. "This isn't just about me," he said. "It's about all of us standing together." The crowd cheered, their voices echoing into the night. I stood at the back, my chest tight with pride. One moment, one street had sparked something bigger. I've worn this badge half my life, seen the best and worst of people. That day on Maple Street I saw both. Karen's hate was ugly, but Mr. Thompson's strength, Sarah's courage, Mrs. Rodriguez's quick thinking, they were beautiful. I drive by that mural every shift, a reminder of what we can do when we stand up. Oakwood's not perfect, but it's ours and we're fighting to make it better. If you ever face hate, remember this. One voice, one action can start a wave. We proved it. This story's just the start. Subscribe to hear more about Oakwood and the battles we're winning. Like, share, and comment to spread the word. Tell me where you're from, what you think. Let's keep this fire burning. Together we can make every street a place where justice wins.